Bank of India is down 8%, 8.5% on about 3 million shares or so. UCO was down big time. That's come up a little bit. Okay, so you said banks are down because of rate hike fears. You think one should be fearful if we do get a 50 basis point hike tomorrow, Raamdeo?
It looks, it could be a little dicey because how much it will slow down, how much they want to slow down the economy at this juncture. I mean, so far 300 bips rise has been taken on the side, and profits have not cracked. Another 50 bips, will it crack? I think clearly it will slow the growth of the banks, but I would still doubt whether well-run banks will it have any problem in terms of making reasonable profits and at last year's level or slightly higher than that. I don't think if your credit growth is more like anywhere between 15-17% also, if not 18-20%, I think that should leave enough ground for the banks to do business. Competition is muted because there are not many licenses, the same number of players, and economy is still buoyant. So my sense is that growth rates in the bank profits will definitely come down. To some extent there will be a little more slippages as the economy slows down, but broadly I don't see complete collapse of banking profits or banking balance sheets.
Somebody earlier here on the show was making that point, and he was sounding alarmist. He was saying that on an absolute level, the gross NPAs are humongous right now compared to what they were. As a percentage, they might not seem much, 2.5%, 3%, but on an absolute level, they are quite large. And if the economy slows down significantly, you probably would have a big problem on your hands. Have you looked at that, and what could be the potential damage then?
Once if I understand your question correctly, you are saying that absolute number is more like 10,000 crores on a particular bank, but it is still 2.5% of their book. So I think the numbers will keep growing because your balance sheet size is growing year after year by 20%. So just in 3.5 years, your balance sheet size doubles. So obviously your gross NPA and provisioning and everything has to change the scale. So I think the gross numbers will definitely look bigger, but one should go by the percentages, and if provisioning is full and month on month, quarter on quarter, the provisions are being made, I don't see any reason why there should be major problem for the banks at this juncture.
Are valuations for banks that you like attractive enough still, Raamdeo?
Yeah, it is. Now most of the banks are available, at least the PSU banks are available at book or even below book. So available at 5, 6, 7 times P multiple. So I think it's becoming reasonable, and if tomorrow 50 bips comes, then you'll get even more reasonable. So I think valuation is not an issue. You have to have confidence and understanding of the business that they are not going to get washed out. There could be slowdown, there could be a little more kind of provisioning or something, but overall in next 2, 3, 4 years they are going to make a lot of money.
What did you make of the auto sales numbers, Raamdeo? A bit of slowdown there, especially passenger vehicles?
Yeah, it looks like. I believe the waiting lists are all over, and you can get most of your popular products on a week's notice or almost off the shelf. So that's the first starting point. And if there is further slowdown in the economy and cost of borrowing for autos, they go up, clearly it will have further slowdown. So I think we are seeing some kind of fatigue in the auto sales, at least in April. But it's too early to say for the year because in March they pushed a lot of sales. So first month is somewhat muted. But clearly you can't take away the fact that on the ground there is a lot of slowdown in terms of conversion cycle, in terms of waiting list. Clearly those things have evaporated.
What about Bajaj, Hero Honda, the two-wheeler makers, TVS, etc.?
I think Hero Honda numbers have not come out, but there also it's not looking to be 20-25% kind of growth. Hero Honda probably because of the last year's modest base, they might declare 25-30% kind of growth, and overall industry would still do well because there in two-wheelers, fortunately the rural franchise is very big, which is much more cash driven. It is not that sensitive to the credit situation in the marketplace, and they are driven by agricultural product prices and their prosperity, marriages in the rural India. So I think those things are still doing pretty well. Hence the impact on two-wheeler will be far lesser compared to your other large ticket purchases like cars and trucks and things like that.
Got that. We spoke to you last week about Infosys before the board meeting. Any new insights or thoughts, etc., which help you make a decision? Does Mr. Kamath coming on board boost confidence? Does it do anything? Or
no, I think at least the uncertainty part is over. Now what could come on 30th, that is at least now clear, and they have laid out the responsibilities and how it will go and things like that. So now let's see, I mean, what really happens. I mean, Mr. KV Kamath is a very well-known figure in Mumbai, and I'm sure in the new role he'll be able to put his stamp out there. And I mean, he has been known for, I think one of the missing thing was that somehow Infosys lost its growth momentum, and if there is one person who can give actually extra energy to the growth momentum, I think Mr. Kamath is the best person to be put in there. But he's from financial sector, and this is a tech-heavy company. So how does these things work, and how fast he is able to really guide the company to higher levels of growth trajectory? I mean, it has to be seen, but at least this uncertainty of 30th April is over.
all right, got that. Raamdeo, pleasure talking to you. Variety of issues there, starting with results to specific stocks. Appreciate your time here on the show. Good luck with business, and I hope to see you more often here on the show. Thanks very much.